In her memoir titled Mighty Be Our Powers, How Sisterhood, Prayer, and Sex Changed a Nation at War, 2011, activist Leymah Gbowee shares her remarkable journey, spanning from her humble beginnings in Liberia to her transformative role in the aftermath of war and political turmoil. Gbowee sheds light on the prevalent gender bias in reporting, highlighting how women were often overlooked and sidelined in the narratives surrounding the war. She recalls instances where her own experiences were dismissed simply because she had not suffered sexual violence. Delving into her childhood, Gbowee recounts a moment of triumph as she joyously celebrates her high school graduation. Coming from a modest background, her educational prospects were uncertain, but her academic achievements opened the possibility of attending college. Amidst the festivities, she relishes in the company of loved ones, indulging in drinks and dinner, and receiving thoughtful gifts, including a new pair of boots. Little did she know that her world would soon be upended. With the arrival of the rebel army a few weeks later, Gbowee and her family are forced to flee, seeking refuge in a local church with only what they can hastily gather. Regrettably, she leaves behind the cherished boots, assuming she would retrieve them later, a decision she later regrets. As the war escalates, life grows increasingly dire, with food scarcity and the devaluation of basic necessities, such as rice, turning them into coveted treasures. Gbowee bears witness to the unfathomable atrocities committed by Charles Taylor and his rebel forces, further fueling her determination for change. Amidst the chaos, she meets Daniel, embarking on a tumultuous romantic relationship. She bravely opens up about the abusive nature of their bond, marked by violence and neglect. Despite the hardships, Gbowee becomes a mother to 4 children with Daniel, acknowledging that while 2 of them were conceived through rape, she loves and cherishes all her children as blessings. Gbowee and her family manage to survive, finding refuge at Buduburum, a Liberian refugee camp in Ghana. However, life in the camp offers little respite, as conditions remain abysmal and food scarcity continues to plague them. Moreover, the devastating impact of the war has shattered the social fabric of Liberia, eroding the once strong family relationships that sustained communities. During this tumultuous period, Gbowee finds herself shuttling between the Ghanaian camps and her life in Liberia, striving to provide for her children while enduring sporadic abuse from Daniel. Nearly a year after arriving at the camp, Gbowee makes a courageous decision to leave, realizing that her situation can't possibly deteriorate any further and yearning to escape from Daniel's grasp. She returns to Liberia alone, seeking solace and a fresh start. As the war finally comes to an end, Gbowee embraces the opportunity to rebuild her life and contributes to her community's healing process. Participating in a 3-month training program facilitated by UNICEF, she learns to assist individuals traumatized by the war, all the while recognizing her own past trauma inflicted by Daniel. Driven by her newfound purpose, Gbowee becomes a dedicated volunteer, providing support to refugees and other victims of the war, while also pursuing her long-delayed dream of attaining a university degree. She forms powerful alliances with fellow women who have suffered through the ravages of war and social upheaval, uniting their voices to advocate for peace. Taking on the role of Liberian coordinator for the Women in Peacebuilding Network, WIPNET, she establishes herself as a prominent figure within the women's peace movement. When Charles Taylor assumes the presidency of Liberia, Gbowee, like many others, hopes for a new era of stability. Sadly, those hopes are dashed as a second civil war erupts within a few years. Undeterred, Gbowee gathers a group of women who meet weekly to pray for peace. Over time, this gathering evolves into a formal organization known as the Christian Women's Peace Initiative, CWI, with Gbowee assuming a leadership role. Thousands of women from diverse backgrounds join forces, employing nonviolent tactics like sit-ins and peaceful demonstrations to demand an end to the conflict. Gbowee's activism takes a bold turn as she orchestrates a sex strike, a tactic that garners significant media attention, although its direct impact on the situation remains limited. Nonetheless, the strike amplifies the voices of Gbowee and her fellow activists. Eventually, Charles Taylor, the then president, accedes to their demands and grants them an audience, where Gbowee and other women, accompanied by government ministers, engage in a crucial dialogue. Gbowee's determination leads her and her demonstrators to the peace talks, where she announces their intention to form a human chain, barricading the negotiators until a concrete peace plan is agreed upon. This resolute action proves instrumental, as the announcement of a peace deal emerges, with Gbowee and the women credited for their pivotal role in pushing for a genuine resolution to the conflict. Following this groundbreaking accomplishment, Gbowee spearheads a campaign in support of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who ultimately becomes Liberia's president in 2005. Gbowee's tireless efforts and advocacy bear remarkable fruit when she is honored with the Nobel Peace Prize in 2011, which she shares with Sirleaf and Tawakkol Karman. Concluding her memoir on a hopeful note, Gbowee acknowledges that significant challenges persist, but she finds solace in the collective determination to address them. The seeds of change have been sown, and she holds on to the belief that a better future is within reach. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.